Hey, thanks for tuning in to Mental Tenacity. This is your host of Men 10, Mojaman. Today we got lesson 2, and we're talking about something kind of general, but it is a noun. Can you guess what it is? No, it's not your late night cravings. It's not your wacko sleep schedule. It's actually the source of both of those and many other things. It's the source of all the dumb things that we do that keep us from our goals. Are you catching on? Do you know what it is? I'm talking about your brain. So your brain is definitely going to be your number one enemy for the most part, all right? So we got to learn to train our brain, all right? Your brain is designed to keep you alive and comfortable. Two main things, alive and comfortable. That's why it's really hard to do things that seem very demanding, do things that are difficult. It doesn't want you to get hurt, whether it's physically, emotionally. It doesn't want to drain you because it wants to be prepared in case there's a situation where we need to stay alive. It wants to preserve itself. And it also wants to keep you away from failure because that's dangerous to us, to our emotions, to the brain. It's actually dangerous to the brain. And I'm going to get into that a little bit. But knowing that, you have to understand that your brain is going to work against you whenever you try to do things outside your comfort zone because it prefers the comfort zone. David Goggins has a really awesome quote. Just a little background on David. He's ex-military. He's a veteran. He's passed Navy SEAL training multiple times with fractures in his leg. He's ran back-to-back marathons for, I think, 8 weeks in a row. He has a lot of in-your-face, fuck you motivation. It's great if you're into that kind of stuff. But he has this quote, and he says, "Your brain is the only thing that shows up on time every time to talk you out of it." I think that's one, hilarious, and two, so accurate. How many times have you decided to, I'm going to be proactive, I'm going to go for a run, and then instantly your brain's like, oh, you haven't eaten today, oh, you have to eat later, oh, you can't get sweaty, or oh, you already showered today, do you really want to shower twice today, oh, my legs are going to be so sore, or it's Thursday, I want to be out and ready to go out dancing on Saturday, so I probably shouldn't run today, so I don't have sore legs. Just it'll come up with so many excuses, whether it's lifting, whether it's exercise, or whether it's pursuing your side business, oh, I can really use this energy for this right now. Maybe I'll start Monday. It's going to be a nice clean start to the week. I'll start Monday. It doesn't even have to be that complicated, right? We're talking about aspirations and goals. It could just be getting out of bed. Especially right now, since we're all in quarantine, some days, there's not a lot for you to do. So why would you get out of bed? At least that's what your brain tells you, right? It could be 10 a.m. and you can get up, maybe do a workout, maybe learn something, maybe read a little bit, maybe call your family, do whatever. But your brain's like, I got nothing to do. I'm just going to stay in bed, hit the snooze button, roll around a little bit, maybe look at the phone, put the phone back down, try to fall asleep, maybe daydream, maybe you had a really good dream, you just want to pull that back. Try to, at least. I don't think I've ever successfully gotten back into a dream when I woke up from it. But your brain's going to give you 1,000,001 excuses on how to keep you comfortable in your bed, safe and alive, It doesn't want you to go and exhaust yourself. We're going to need to train ourselves to get out of this. Now, where does that come from? Okay. In your brain, you have a little almond-shaped part in the center. It's called the amygdala. And that's where fear response starts, okay? So whenever you feel fear or any kind of exaggerated emotion, it starts from the amygdala. And that is where instantly your brain reacts negatively to that. It's like, okay, no, this is scary. We're not going to do this. Here's all the reasons why. You're going to need to push yourself past that. Another part of why your brain will try to avoid putting pressure on your body, avoid going out of its way to do something that's difficult but maybe productive for you, is that when you become stressed, your body produces cortisol. This is your primary stress hormone. It's also a steroid. It's a natural steroid in your body. What it does is it increases the sugars or glucose in your bloodstream. And this is good because it can help you repair tissue. So when we're talking about physical exercise, it's great. That stress that you put on your muscle increases the cortisol, helping it repair. Great. But there's some bad sides to it, right? First and most importantly, cortisol will age you. It does a series of things that it'll literally age you faster. Your hair can become white, your skin can become saggy, your mood can become dampened. It can actually affect your memory. And like the most prominent thing that it actually does is cortisol will shut down all your non-fight or flight functions. What the hell does that mean? So if it doesn't have to do with fighting or running, it won't use it. For example, cortisol will make you really freaking good at running beyond your limit. Like if you're running from a bear, which you probably won't outrun. Bears can actually run at 25 miles per hour. Fun fact. But let's say you're running from any kind of animal, you're going to be able to run so much, maybe not faster, but for so much longer because you have this adrenaline pumping, you have cortisol pumping, or fight, Cortisol will help you actually improve your ability to take damage, to just keep swinging even when you're exhausted, to keep fighting. These are your fight or flight situations. So if it doesn't have anything to do with fight or flight, for example, memory, motivation, and critical thinking or deep thinking, you don't really need these in fight or flight. You're either going to attack or you're going to run, and cortisol promotes that. We kind of want to reduce that, right? Because a lot of our goals and our ambitions, they're not as simple as fight or flight. Maybe if you're a boxer, it comes in handy, but even if you're a boxer or an MMA fighter, the number one rule is actually to keep a clear head when you fight. You want to be able to logistically plan your moves and be reactive, adjust to the fight, adjust to the other fighter. You don't just want to lose control and like fight the other person in rage. It rarely works. I speak from personal experience too, having wrestled previously. It rarely works. You want to use technique, and all those functions, triggering fear, triggering cortisol, it ruins all that. So why am I talking about all these chemical things of your brain? All right, let's get down to it. You don't want to do the things that you need to do because it's not sexy, it's hard, and it's going to drain you. These are all opposite of supplying you dopamine. Keyword here, dopamine. Our body craves it. We literally live for it. We live for dopamine. It gets you through every point of your day for the most part, because, hopefully you're doing something that gives you satisfaction, and dopamine is purely its satisfaction. That's what it is. It's referred to as the pleasure drug, but really what it is, it's the desired drug. The pursuit of dopamine is what will make you want to do things, right? What am I talking about? Let's really simplify this. Social media triggers immense amounts of dopamine, especially in my generation, in the younger generation, Millennial, X, even younger than us. I'm blanking on the name right now. We love instant dopamine because we have the ability to do it. And this is another topic that a lot of people will discuss. It's instant gratification, but for now, I'm just going to refer to it as dopamine. We love dopamine. You open up your phone, you check Instagram, you're looking at all these cool pictures, all these cool things. You're watching, TikToks and Vines, that's dead, RIP. But like all these funny videos that's making you laugh. You're liking your friends' pictures, or people are liking your pictures. That's so much dopamine. How many of you open up your post to check who has liked it, how many people have liked it, like every 15 minutes after you make a post? I'm sure most of you do. If you use Instagram, I'm sure you do. I'm not calling you out. It's your own life. It's fine. I do it too. When I post a picture, I'll come back in 3 hours and just be like, oh, let's see how it's doing compared to before, and let's see who liked it. Just run your own analytics on it. But it purely is dopamine. You jump from that, you go to Snapchat, you're Snapchatting people, that guy or girl that you like. You're Snapchatting them, they're responding, oh my god, dopamine, all my friends, dopamine. And it doesn't just have to do with your phone. It can be your computer, watching YouTube videos. It can be eating like cheesecake or chips, like you love that food, it's giving you dopamine, you love to eat it, you want to eat it. Impulsive, sugary foods, especially sugar, is another dopamine trigger. So not only can you eat your guilty pleasure food, your junk food, high sugar foods are going to hit your dopamine levels even harder. It's like edible, more acceptable forms of cocaine. That's bad comparison, but that's really what it is. It's like baby Coke. It's just a lot of sugar and a lot of stuff that you like. Dopamine gets even deeper than that. We're talking about a phone and food. it can come down to the different types of drugs that you use. And I don't mean like hardcore drugs. I mean like if you smoke cigarettes, like it probably produces dopamine for you. That's why you smoke cigarettes. If you like to smoke weed as your downtime or to relax you, it does help you produce dopamine. Coffee or tea to keep you going will produce dopamine. Socializing for a lot of people, especially extroverts, will produce dopamine. If you're an introvert, reading a book can actually produce dopamine. I know that's crazy for some of you to hear because you absolutely hate books. I hated books in middle school and high school. I've learned to kind of really love them now, but reading a book can produce dopamine. Listening to music, this is one of my guilty pleasures. I will fill any kind of gap I have in my day where my mind is kind of like doing something autonomous with music. You know, if I have to cook, music's on. If I have to work out, music's on. It's just, I don't give my mind that time to rest and relax and be clear. I'm just pumping it full of dopamine. It's like, all right, I have the ability to listen to something while I do this. I'm going to listen to music. I've been trying to strive more towards podcasts, and that's actually what, motivated me to start this podcast. But there are all these things, and there's this one thing that a lot of people won't talk about, and it's porn and masturbation. These are huge points of dopamine. I mean, we don't need to discuss how often you're doing it, what the averages are. I really don't know the numbers. I don't know how, even the numbers you find on Google, I don't know how accurate they are, because how many people are really open to talking about that on an honest level. But if you're someone that is watching porn often, if you're masturbating often, this is some of the most extreme forms of creating instant gratification and dopamine for yourself. And we can get hooked on these things. Why am I going so in depth about dopamine? Okay, it's because of all these things that you can do to instantly give yourself the satisfaction, this dopamine. Those same things are keeping you from doing the things that are hard, that are not giving you instant dopamine, but they're the things that you want in the long run. You want to write a book. You would love to publish a book. Nothing would make you more happy than to be an author, but you're not going to take an hour to sit down every day and brainstorm and write that book. Why? It's because I'm guilty of this too, previously and even now. So I'm not just like calling people out. This is something we do. It's human nature. We crave dopamine. We would rather go walk to the fridge, open it up, grab a snack, sit down on Instagram, and just scroll for 30 minutes and just eat like chips and guacamole, because that would make us so happy. And writing an hour for a book is just so stressful. It's going to produce cortisol. I'm going to stress out. I don't know what to write about. I don't know where to start. Like, where do I even start? What do I even want to write about? I don't know. Like, can I even do this? There's so many authors out there. There's so many books. There's not an end of the library. I don't even know where the library ends. Is there an end to the library? Wait, is there an end to the... Yeah, I'm kidding. But, like, you know there's so many books. You don't want to compete with all these people. You don't want to write. You don't know what to write about. Your writing's not going to be good enough. It's never going to get published. No one wants to read it. There's all these ideas that are going through your head, and that is your brain. It's your brain combating you from leaving your comfort zone. And that's exactly what we talked about in the last podcast, was leaving your comfort zone. It's so hard, but we're going to need to do it, okay? I need you to pick a goal, not something crazy, not writing an author, being an author, writing a book, not like transforming your body and like, putting on 20 pounds of muscle or like losing 30 pounds of fat, nothing crazy. I want you to pick a small goal this week, something small. Maybe it's, I'm going to skip coffee this week. Maybe it's, I'm going to skip masturbation this week. Maybe it's, I'm going to delete Instagram this week. Whatever it is, start small. What we're going to start to do is dopamine detox, okay? This is a term that is actually becoming really popular now. If you research it, you'll probably get a lot of hits, a lot of YouTube videos, a lot of articles. And I think it might be quarantine that's bringing it up, because people have unlimited access to all these instant pleasures, and very little access to the resources that they might need to do what they want to do, aka like start a business and like collaborate with people. But we together are going to start our dopamine detox, and that's going to be a very integral part of this entire journey that we're going to take. One way to approach this detox is if you took something different to give up every week, or if you want to string together different weeks, and let's say give up coffee for like 3 weeks in a row. They say it only takes 28 days to break a habit. So if you can just do no coffee for 4 weeks in a row, like you might see yourself not even needing coffee. That's a small example. Maybe it's junk food. Maybe it's eating at midnight, maybe it's scrolling YouTube or, your social media, whatever it is. If we slowly start to dopamine detox, what we can do is get our body used to not getting that instant gratification, in which case it's going to start to want other forms of gratification. Now, this can absolutely backfire. How? Let me tell you. You're going to give up snacking at midnight, you're going to give up coffee, and you're going to give up playing video games. Next thing you know, you're scrolling YouTube and Instagram an extra hour a day, which is basically the time you would have been spending doing whatever you just gave up. So, this discipline and balance is going to come in right here. And here is the ultimate challenge. It's called the Advanced Dopamine Detox. What is it? This is going to sound crazy. You need to give up, for one day, you need to give up your phone, your computer, your gaming, porn and masturbation, all types of drugs that you take, alcohol included, stimulating food, such as junk food, and sugars and candy. You're going to give up coffee and tea. You're going to stop socializing. You're not going to read a single book or anything for that matter. And you get no music. You're probably sitting there like, what the hell do I do then, Mo? Do I just sit there and breathe like a goddamn caveman? Actually, yeah. Actually, yes. I know this sounds insane. But your goal is to actually just sit there, breathe, eat like a freaking chicken breast and some vegetables. If you really want to, you can start like journaling. I would not start doodling. I wouldn't start drawing, because that will actually pull out levels of dopamine again. You can start writing about things, ideas, maybe that business you want to work on, maybe that goal you have, start writing about it. You can go on a walk. You can even exercise. The most extreme case, you can exercise and go on a walk. The most extreme form of this, you actually just sit in a room all day and all you're allowed to do is go use the bathroom. You can't even eat food. You can drink water, but you can't even eat food. So what is this crazy idea? What is this ridiculous thing that you can even find on Google that I'm not just saying to you because I'm a crazy person, but it works? And what is it? It's a dopamine detox. What it's doing is it's numbing your body of all those incoming dopamine factors, all those things that just set off your dopamine levels. You're pulling it out of the equation. So when you do this for a day, when you pull everything out, what happens is you're like, oh my God, I would give up anything to do anything. You know when you don't eat for a long time, and then you have a bit of food, and it's just freaking delicious? You can't stop. You're just like, or like, for me, it's like a good steak. If I don't have a good steak in a long time, I go to a nice steakhouse, I sit down with my friends or family, my mouth is just absolutely watering for the steak. It comes down, I'm losing my mind, I'm like taking pictures of it, I don't even know. But it gets rid of all that so you can get those feelings of dopamine from more simpler things. But here's the idea here. After this dopamine detox, the first thing you're going to go do is something pertaining to your goal. You're going to be productive. You're going to be instantly productive after that cleanse. And you're like, why? Why the hell would I want to do something difficult after depriving myself of everything fun? That is exactly the point of dopamine detox. When you get rid of all these enjoyable factors and you rip yourself down into absolutely doing nothing, your mind will naturally feel pleasure from just doing anything. So now you can go sit down and do notes about the book you're going to write, and you'll actually get some pleasure out of it because your mind is like, finally we're doing something. Oh my God, we're writing words. Look at these ideas come down. This is a brilliant idea. It's fantastic. You're going to start to see your perspective naturally change because you're chemically changing the way your brain works. If you don't believe me that this works, I would say just Google it, dopamine detox, check it out. There's articles, there's research. I've even done it myself on multiple occasions, but an example that I can actually give you, like a scientific example, is His name is Christian Lustre. I hope I'm saying that right. He's a professor of neurology at the University of Geneva in Switzerland, and he ran this pretty incredible experiment. So basically, he took some rats, some mice. They're different things. He took some mice. And so he took these mice and he attached a neural receiver to their heads. So basically, he was able to affect what goes into their head. And what this did was it gave him the ability to put dopamine into their system. So he put these mice in this controlled environment, basically a box. And he put this cap on them where he can control dopamine. And there's a lever, right? There's a lever that the mice could pull. And at first they were just walking around the box, but eventually they found the lever, they pulled the lever, and what he would do is he would pump the mice full of dopamine straight to their brain instantly for pulling the lever. And the mice loved it. They absolutely loved it. Moments later, these mice just start pulling the lever. Every moment they pull the lever, they enjoy the dopamine rush. They pull the lever, they enjoy the dopamine rush. They did this non-stop for hours. These mice didn't even want to eat food, drink water. They didn't want to do anything. They just wanted to hit the lever and get the dopamine. So you can see how this kind of reflects us and our phones and our instant gratification and like all the things that we do, whether it's snacking and using our computers and social media. But what's the crazier part of this? When he took the neural receiver off of them and got rid of the lever, these mice stopped wanting to do anything. They actually stopped going to get food because they just didn't want to anymore. They stopped going to get water. They stopped wanting to play. They actually just sat there or laid there and did nothing. Why would they just do nothing? Now, what this kind of mimics is a little bit extreme. It mimics something of a heroin or cocaine addiction where you kind of get so hooked on something you lose all desire to do anything but those things. But on a smaller scale, this is exactly what happens to us when we're doing things that give us dopamine. You know, we instantly open our phone, we get social media, we text, we Snapchat, we go on the computer, we surf YouTube, we surf TikTok, we get videos that make us laugh, we watch Netflix, these amazing shows that people can produce and think of. It's so stimulating to our brain, it's so good, we just want more. And then when it's time to actually do stuff like go make a healthy lunch, we're like, God fucking damn it, I do not want to cook right now. I'm just going to order. I'm going to watch another episode and I'm going to order. And we make that bad choice. Or, hey, I can go work on my business. Like, let's plan this out. Let's plan this business out. But, oh my God, that new Call of Duty Warzone update just dropped and like, oh man, I gotta play with the boys. And there goes your aspirations, your hopes, your dreams, your side hustle, whatever you want to call it. It's these, we do have addictions, you know, some of us want to say we're stronger than that. Some of us are stronger than that, truly, some of us are. But for the most part, we do succumb to the things that give us instant gratification. We succumb to dopamine. And this dopamine detox is going to help us overcome that. When we train our brain to get away from these dopamine-inducing activities, and we start to do more difficult activities after, we're going to start to find levels of dopamine in the difficult activities. And ultimately what that's going to let you do is build a habit of doing the difficult activities. Am I saying that you're going to actually enjoy writing and planning out your business? Yeah, you are. Am I saying that you might actually just enjoy working out or running? Yeah, you are. You are, because your brain just wants to do something and you're finally giving it something. And guess what? It's what your brain wants because it's getting dopamine. And it's what you want because it's aligned to your goal, to your dream. Alright guys, that's lesson 2. It's all about your brain, training your brain in dopamine. I hope you guys actually participate in the dopamine detox. You know, pick one thing to give up. whether it's social media, whether it's your phone, computer, coffee, porn, masturbation, whether, food, unhealthy food, whatever it is, give something up for a week. If you want to go a little bit more extreme, try that one day. Try that Saturday without anything. Try just like sitting in your house and just eating and literally just being alone with yourself. I think you're going to slowly start to realize that when you take these dopamine-inducing factors out of your life, you're going to be able to replace it with something else. And if you make a cognitive and disciplined decision, you can replace it with productive, good things that align to your goals. Let me know how it goes. Reach out if you need help or have questions. Happy to talk. And thank you for listening to the podcast. Until the next podcast, keep your mental 10 out of 10. Keep it men 10.